Namaste, Mosi, Chandraprabha, Buyanji from Guwahati. Welcome.
Namaste, namaste. All
Nice
of
to
you.
go all good. Good to see you here.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to do the screen sharing.
Yes, just try. You are co-host, so I think you should be able to do it.
Yeah, somehow I'm not very good at this.
You will try now or after the meeting?
Let me try and keep it ready so that
okay.
when the meeting starts.
Either ways, it's time.
Okay, so it says it's an unsupported document.
You're on the mobile phone, right?
Yeah. It's a PPT presentation. Okay, it says it's an unsupported document. Okay, let me try for the I saved the PDF file, but I'm not getting where it is.
Should I share my screen if you are not able to do that?
That's okay. I'm just copying it now into the PDF format. Sometimes my phone doesn't support the PowerPoint presentations. I don't know why. Okay. Okay, documents, PDF.
So
So
should I start
is
till
the
then?
file shared? Can you see that? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can see.
Yeah. Oh, so this is my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I should start my video also, so you can see my video. So is the screen visible, Ritika?
Yes, sir. Yes. Sir.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Yeah, you can start.
Okay, I'll go live streaming now. Okay, Kritika, we can start.
Hello and good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to this meeting of Young Indian Theosophists Group. As you all know, today's meeting is a talk on thought and purpose and thought factor in achievement from the book As a Human Thinketh by James Allen. So before starting the talk, let us sit in meditation. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know is also one with every other. Come back, everyone, and thank you for joining. Our speaker for the day is Brother Pradeep. Brother Pradeep is a master's in biotechnology. He's working as a business manager for an organic products company, and he's also a professional consultant for hydroponics. He's a third generation theosophist who was introduced to theosophy naturally since childhood. He became an active member since 2002 and has been giving lectures at various theosophical lodges in Karnataka. I welcome Brother Pradeep for the talk. Over to you, Brother Pradeep.
My, uh, is my voice audible, Kritika?
Yeah, but it is very low.
Uh, Excuse me, so that I have to check for the audio. So how about now?
Yes, good to go.
Audible? Is it still the same?
No, it's good. It's fine.
Okay. So thank you so much, Kritika, for your warm introduction. Hello, everyone. I feel very happy to be back with the Sunday morning discussions and gatherings of young theosophists. I have been away for quite 6 months now, and good to see you all. So today's topic is chapter 3 and 4, Thought and Purpose and Thought Factor in Achievement, from the book As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. So I'm sure in the previous chapters you all have understood the effect of thoughts, the importance of thoughts that arise within us, and how they can control or even they can shape our life and our character and our activities. And today we shall see how our thoughts should have a purpose. Until thought is linked with purpose, there is no intelligent accomplishment. So whatever thoughts that comes within us, or whatever thoughts we generate, they all has to be linked with a purpose. So there has to be a purpose for our thoughts. Without a purpose, without an aim, then there cannot be anything that we can accomplish or we can achieve something that is intelligent. So, for example, we think a lot. We every day in our daily activities, we even we are sitting quiet in a park, but still there are thoughts that keep continuously arising from our brain, from our inside. However, these just passing thoughts. But what are the thoughts that the author here he means to say is the solid thought that we think that we need to act upon. So all those thoughts that comes from us for which we feel we need to act upon, and those thoughts has to be linked with a purpose. If there is no purpose for that thought, if there is no central aim for those thoughts, and they all become feeble, just passing thoughts from us. They who have no central purpose in their life fall an easy prey to petty worries, fears, troubles, and self-pityings, all of which are indications of weakness, which lead just as surely as deliberately planned sins to failure, unhappiness, and loss. For weakness cannot persist in a power evolving universe. So, therefore, we need to have this central purpose in our life. So, what is that we are going to achieve? What is the aim? And what is the purpose of our life? And what we are trying to do? Why we are born? And what is the aim for us for future? And what is that I'm going to achieve within 10 years from now or within 20 years from now? So anything, not only in the matter of spiritual world, but even in the world that we live, in the day-to-day life, in our business, in our profession, in our career, in every field that we enter in our daily life, we need to have a central purpose. We need to have a clear-cut idea of what we are going to achieve. What is the purpose that we are trying to achieve? And Once we have this central purpose, and then all our thoughts will be focused, should be focused towards this central purpose. But if we don't have this aim, if we don't have this central idea of our life in any field, then it's very easy to fall to prey. Fall to prey of what? Of worries, of fears, of troubles, and self-pitying things. So once we don't have a central aim, once we don't have something, a goal that we're going to achieve, then we keep on wandering. We keep on seeing many things and we feel like doing it. We see something and we feel like I want to do this. And immediately, if that is not a central purpose, if we are not serious about it, and tomorrow we see something else, and then we shift our focus. So these shifting of focus, this wandering of thoughts keep happening again and again, and that will accumulate into fears, fear of losing, fear of failure, fear of fear of someone else achieving more than you. So and then we start self-pitying, and then we pity ourselves. We feel why we are at this position. We feel we are unlucky. We feel somebody else is causing trouble to us, and all these things comes up once we develop this complex of fear within us, and then all those leads to troubles. The reason why this happens, this entire cycle of fears, troubles, and self-pitying things happens, is because we have not fixed ourselves to a central purpose. We are not sure of what we are going to do. We are not sure of what we need to achieve. And then all these things leads to weakness. And then this weakness leads to failure, unhappiness, and loss. So therefore, the having a central purpose in our life, having a clear-cut aim, what we are going to achieve is very important. Those who are not prepared for the apprehension of a great purpose. Now, you may ask me a question, like if you ask, for example, a student who is in his 10th standard or even in his 12th, what is the aim of your life? He may think of what he will do after his 10th or 12th grade. He may want to join to a course, or he may want to for a professional course. So he will have a clear-cut idea at that position to what to do next. But if you ask an 8th grade or a 7th grade kid of what you're going to study or what you want to do in future, he may not have a clear-cut idea. So that doesn't mean he is not having a central idea, he's not having a central purpose, but he is not prepared yet. So he's still in the process of preparing. So those who are not prepared for the apprehension of a greater purpose. So those who are still not ready or who are not yet prepared to have a strong central purpose in their life, then how about them? What should they do? And for them, the author says, should fix the thoughts upon the faultless performance of their duty, no matter how insignificant their task may appear. So if you're still not prepared to have a central idea, to have a central purpose in your life, and then your thoughts, now you need to train your thoughts to fix upon the duty what you're performing at that moment. So, and then all your aim should be to perform that duty without fault. A faultless performance of the duty that you have in your hand is what should be your aim. And no matter how insignificant that task may appear. So the given task for you, you may feel it's very small, it's very insignificant, but still you need to focus on your task and then you need to perform without fault. And that should be your focus. If you don't have a greater central idea or a central purpose of your life, and you're still trying to figure out what you're going to do, you're still in the stage of learning. So at that stage, you need to train your thoughts to focus on the duty that you have next. So as I said, going back to my example, an 8th grade or a 7th grade student, he may not have his clear-cut idea of what he is going to do after his 12th grade, what he is going to study. So, but his duty is to focus on the subject that he's studying, on the things that he's learning, on the next thing that he need to achieve step by step. Only in this way can the thoughts be gathered and focused, and resolution and energy be developed, which being done, there is nothing which may not be accomplished. So in this way, if we keep training our thoughts to focus on the duty that we are going to perform and to keep on gathering the information and then the resolution, the energy, and then develop step by step, and that will lead us to finally have a central purpose in our life and focus all our thoughts on this purpose, and there is nothing that cannot be accomplished. As the physically weak man can make himself strong by careful and patient training, so the man of weak thoughts can make them strong by exercising himself in right thinking. So a physically weak man, if someone is very weak physically, he is not having a very built body. So how does he can train himself? He train himself step by step, carefully, with patience. In one day, in overnight, you cannot become a strong. You can't have a strong body. So you need to go to the gym, you need to learn the exercises, you need to learn yoga and all these things comes up. And then you do it slowly. You go step by step. You wait, you should have patience. And then slowly you build your body to become a strong body. So in the same way, if your thoughts are weak, you don't have very strong, purposeful thoughts, you don't have greater ideas in your mind. When your thoughts are very still weak, you need to train your thoughts step by step. You can't suddenly have, okay, from today I'm going to have this as my purpose in my life and all my thoughts will focus on this. No, that doesn't happen overnight. So you need to train your thoughts to make them strong by exercising. So it's a kind of exercise. So how to train your thoughts to become more and more stronger thoughts, more and more magnanimous or greater purposeful thoughts, by slowly training them, by slowly focusing on them, and by training them how to think in a right way, how to do right thinking. So that training is very slow. That should, with patience, has to be done as an exercise, just like how you train your body to become strong. Having conceived of his purpose, a man should mentally mark out a straight pathway to its achievement. So once anyone who still doesn't have a central purpose in his life, once he focus on the duty that is immediate to him, once he start training his thoughts, once he start performing his duties without faults, and then training his thoughts in a right direction, training himself how to think correct, how to think right, and then building upon his thoughts to become more and more strong, and then you will achieve something which you feel as a central purpose in your life. And then once you achieve this, once you conceived of this purpose, then then you should mentally mark out a straight pathway. So once you arrive at this conclusion that this is what I'm going to do in my life, this is my central purpose of my life, this is what I'm going to achieve in 10 years or 20 years down the lane. And then what is the next thing? Next thing is you need to mark out a straight pathway to its achievement. So you need to then focus on how to achieve that. How should I move, or which way should I take in order to achieve this central aim or the central goal or the central purpose that I am selecting upon. So then marking out a straight pathway is very important. You need to sit and plan, okay, this is the way to achieve this thing. If I go in this way, these may be the troubles, these may be the obstacles that I get. If I go in this, if I select another way, these may be the failure, or this may be the bottleneck that I need to cross. So you need to think in all these directions and then finally decide one straight pathway to its achievement. So once you arrive at a conclusion of a central purpose of your life, the next thing is to mark a straight pathway, to sit and think of how to achieve it. So just because you decided a central purpose in your life, that doesn't mean that its achievement should always be in a straight way. That doesn't mean that there are no obstacles for that. That doesn't mean that there's nobody who will disturb you or who will stop you from achieving it. But however, you need to think in all directions first and see, make calculations whether it's achievable. And if I can achieve, what is a straight pathway to its achieving, not any indirect method, but in a direct straight method, how to achieve. So that then you will focus all your thoughts on creating a pathway, to selecting a pathway to achieve whatever you have whatever conclusion you have arrived as a central purpose of your life. Thoughts of doubt and fear never accomplished anything and never can. They always lead to failure. Purpose, energy, power to do, and all strong thoughts cease when doubt and fear creep in. Now, what is important to know, when you are marking out a straight pathway to the achievement of your central purpose of your life, not only of your life, whether it's a purpose of your career, whether it's an achievement or a goal in your profession or in your business or in a spiritual world, whatever you want to achieve, once you mark a straight pathway, the first thing to remove is doubt and fear. So if you have doubt on yourself, if you have a doubt on your achievement, your goal itself, if you're having a doubt on the pathway that you have selected, then you will develop fear, fear of failure. So if you keep this doubt and fear of failure continuously with you, then you will not achieve anything in your life. So the first thing is to, to take time to decide the central purpose of your life, or the aim or a goal, whatever you're going to select, and then focus and build your thoughts step by step, slowly, with patience, towards that aim, towards that purpose. And then mark a straight pathway, see all possibilities, and see a straight achievable pathway to that purpose. And then to remove all doubts and fear, not to have any doubts. So when do you, how can you remove your doubts? How can you overcome your fear? Because if you have spent much time in deciding your aim, in deciding the pathway, if you have built it step by step with patience, slowly, only then you will not have any doubts and fears. But if it is a rushed in decision, if you make a decision within overnight and then you decide, okay, this is what I'm going to achieve, then you will definitely have doubt and fear, because you have not trained your thoughts step by step. You have not trained them to think in that direction. So you have decided suddenly. It's a sudden shock. And then you will always have doubt and fear. If you have to remove doubt and fear in the pathway to achieve your aim, in the aim itself, and then you need to learn how to develop your thoughts towards that aim step by step in a slow and patient manner. So, so doubts and fear, they always lead to failure. So purpose, energy, power to do, all strong thoughts, they cease to appear when doubt and fear comes in. So if you get a doubt, if you feel fear of failure, then that energy that you have to achieve your purpose, the energy that you have, the enthusiasm, the zeal that you have to achieve any goal, all these things will cease to appear. So the fear and doubt are the two things that can spoil you on your way to achieve something. So therefore, to remove doubt and fear is very important once you start treading on the path to achieve your goals. Thought allied fearlessly to purpose becomes creative force. So here, now your thoughts has to be allied, or allied means in harmony or working together. Allied means working together. If your thoughts are fearlessly, without fear, if they're working together with you to the purpose that you have, then that becomes a creative force. It's a creative force. If you meet some unexpected thing when you are trying to achieve something, then your thoughts become creative. You come up with creative ways to overcome that obstacles. You come up with creative thoughts to make things look more beautiful. You come up with creative thoughts to make things more easy. So the path that you have selected may be a very difficult one, but if your thoughts are allied or working together with your purpose, if your thoughts are in harmony with you and with your purpose, and then you get thoughts which are more creative, which can make things easy, which can make things look beautiful, which can make things look very happy, and which can take others also along with it. So thought, it's very important to ally or to bring in harmony your thoughts with your purpose. So that is very important. Thought allied fearlessly to purpose become a creative force. He who knows this is ready to become something higher and stronger than a mere bundle of wavering thoughts and fluctuating sensations. He who does this has become the conscious and intelligent wielder of his mental powers. So once you are aware that all your thoughts are being focused on your purpose, they're not just a bundle of wavering thoughts. They're not just some thoughts that come and go. They're not just thoughts that are disturbing you or deviating you from your purpose. Once you know that all these thoughts are focused on to my purpose, and then you become conscious of these thoughts. So how to become conscious of your thought? So this is a very important thing that we need to understand. We sit and think, thoughts come in our mind, right? But how to be conscious of our own thoughts, where we become the observer and we observe the thoughts. So thoughts generate from our mind or from inside, and then we need to be the observer of our own thoughts. So when we observe our thoughts, then we develop a consciousness towards our thoughts. So once we become conscious of our thoughts, then at that moment we get an energy, we get a power where we can intelligently wield this mental power of creating thoughts. So what is this power of creating thoughts? So the power of creating thoughts is to generate thoughts we will have the ability to generate the thoughts that we want. So we will have a particular idea, and we need to develop thoughts or the thinking uh, in that direction. We need to develop our thinking in that direction, and then we have that energy to develop thoughts focused on that object. So we shall get that energy, and we will know how powerful they are. So how powerful our thoughts are. So just to give an example, uh, if we start observing our thoughts, if we know if we have the habit of observing our thoughts in meditation, and then one day we all sit together and we think, okay, our thoughts should focus on this particular thing. There is something bad happening and in the world. So let us sit and meditate and let us focus all our thoughts that this should stop and something good should happen. And then once we set our aim and we sit and meditate and we keep on generating thoughts in that direction where something good should happen and whatever happening bad should stop, and then those thoughts will definitely have power, and then we can do that, we can achieve that through our thoughts. But if we can achieve that through our thoughts, first we need to be conscious of our thoughts. We need to learn how to observe our thoughts. We need to learn how to generate the good thoughts, the right thinking thoughts towards our aim. So therefore, once our thoughts are allied or are in harmony with a purpose, then thoughts will become a creative force. So they can create something, they can come up with creative ideas. And then once we observe our thoughts, then we will get that energy of how can we use these mental powers, the power of thought, towards one particular aim. And we start learning how to use our thoughts, how to generate the thoughts that we need. So for that, you need to start observing your thoughts. All that a man achieves and all that he fails to achieve is the direct result of his own thoughts. It's very easy to say that when we achieve something, we give credits to so many people, so many things, so many circumstances. And if we fail, again, we search for reasons for failure, and we think because of so and so situation, because of so and so person, we failed, because of so and so think that I didn't have, so I failed. But ultimately, what we need to arrive at a conclusion is whether we achieve something or we fail to achieve something, the basic reason is our thoughts. It is the thought that comes in our mind, that the thought that we are generating, which is the reason for whether you achieve something or whether you fail in achieving. So therefore, thought is that central reason for both, for your failures and for your achievement. So that we need to understand. Anything, whatever if we want to achieve, it should start from our thoughts. And whatever we fail, that means it has started from our thoughts. So the thoughts have not gone in the right direction. So the thought, so this is the power of thought. So what the author is trying to say is to 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 explain to us what is the power of the thought that comes from us. So it can decide whether you can achieve something or whether you fail. So whatever we achieve and we fail, both the thoughts are the central reason for that. A man's weakness and strength, purity and impurity are his own and not another man's. They're brought about by himself and not by another. And they can only be altered by himself, never by another. His condition is also his own and not another man's. His suffering and his happiness are evolved from within. So whether we are weak, we feel we are weak, or whether we feel we are very strong, whether we feel we are very pure or we are very impure and we are not fit for something. So both positive and negative things, whatever we feel, the reason is ourself, is whatever we are appearing in the outside world, it is coming from within. We are the reason for that. It's not, nobody has decided us to look or to behave or in such a such manner. It is what we have developed within ourselves that is appearing outside in this world. So whether it's our suffering or the happiness, we are the reason for that. We are the sole reason for that condition of us. And then once we know that the reason is within ourselves, we are responsible for whether we are happy or sad, whether we are strong or weak. Then we will understand if we want to alter that, it is only possible from within ourselves. It's nobody else can alter that. Nobody else can change. So if we want to change something that we are in, that situation or whatever we are in, once we know we are the reason for that, then we will think only we can change from ourselves. Nobody else can change. So we don't need someone else help to change us, to change our thoughts. So we need to change ourselves if we can, if we have to change a condition. So his condition is also his own and not another man's. Our condition is my own. My condition is my own. It's not your condition. Nobody else has put me in this condition. Nobody else has put me in this misery or in this unhappiness, in this impurity, in this weakness. No, it is me who have put myself into this situation. So if I have to alter it, it should be myself. It has to be changed within ourselves or within myself if I have to change this situation. It has been usual for men to think and to say, many men are slaves because one is an oppressor. Let us hate the oppressor. Now, however, there is amongst an increasing few a tendency to reverse this judgment and to say, one man is an oppressor because many are slaves. Let us despise the slaves. Say, for example, there is a group of people who are being treated as slaves, and there is one person who is the oppressor, who is having a complete control over this group of people, and then he is treating them as slaves. So when we see that situation, how do we feel? The first thing is we think these people are slaves because this person has oppressed them. So if we think in this way, then we develop a hatred towards the oppressor. But if we change our thinking, if we change our method of thinking, way of thinking in slightly different way, when we see some group of slaves and an oppressor, and we think he is an oppressor because these people think they are slaves. And then our, our, our thinking changes. Our idea of this oppressor and slaves totally changes. And then we will not feel hatred to the oppressor, but we feel we need to uplift these slaves. We need to make them learn how to think they're not slaves. So we need to uplift their thinking to so not to behave as slaves to this oppressor. So, for example, again, so there is, I mean, we all have gone through this. We have studied this in our history books that many people ruling over others. So there are some foreigners who rule over a country for about 100 to 200 years. And then the people in this country who originally live in this country, they have accepted it, and they were keep on behaving as slaves against the rulers. But what was important is not to think these people are behaving as slaves only because there is an oppressor. But we need to think that there is an oppressor. He got an opportunity because these people started thinking as slaves. And then when we uplift them to think they're not slaves, they can rule themselves. Once we teach them how to think that they're not slaves, once we teach them how to rule themselves, and then they raise upon, and then they can remove their oppressor and they can rule themselves. So it is not important to hate the oppressor. Once we think that these people are slaves because of the oppressor, if the reason is an oppressor, then we start hating him. But if we think there is an oppressor because this group of people think they are slaves, and then we will not hate the oppressor, but we will think of uplifting the slaves, uplifting the people who think they are slaves, teaching them how to think that they're not slaves. They can no more be slaves. They can learn how to rule themselves. So this is the way of thinking. We need to change that. So once we make people to think in a different direction, then the dimension itself changes. So this is all about changing the dimension. So thoughts can change your dimension. Thoughts can make you feel whatever the life you have gone through, whatever situation you have gone through. There's not something that is fixed. It's all in your mindset. It's all in your thoughts. Once you start thinking that I'm not going to behave like this in my life hereafter, I'm not going to allow anyone to rule myself. I'm not going to allow anyone to decide what I have to do, what I should eat, what I should do. And once you start thinking in that way, once your thoughts arise, then that solves the problem. Then that will decide you to be independent. So therefore, thoughts, upliftment of thoughts in yourself, to believe in yourself will make you free from whatever situation, whatever bonding, or whatever misery that you are going through. A man can only rise, conquer, and achieve by lifting up his thoughts. He can only remain weak and abject and miserable by refusing to lift up his thoughts. So what we discussed all this time is we need to lift up, we need to raise our thoughts, raise the level of our thoughts. If we have to conquer, if we have to achieve something, if we have to become something, we need to uplift our thoughts. We need to raise our thoughts to that level. So if we refuse to change the way of thinking, if we refuse to think in that way, then we remain in the misery that we are. So we were slaves for 200 years. If we we give up thinking that we can rule ourselves. We give up thinking that we are slaves forever. And we give up thinking that we can come up, we can be independent, we can achieve something what we want by our own capacity. If we give up all our thoughts in that way, then we remain as slaves, we remain as sheep. So there is a shepherd, and then he is raising taking these sheep, and then the sheep are following one after the other. But once these sheep are the slaves, just an example, if they think that, if they raise their level of thinking, then why should I follow someone? Why can't I decide my destiny? Why can't I be the sole decider, the decision maker of my destiny, of my aim? And once you raise your thinking, then you become independent of that particular situation or misery. So if you have to conquer and achieve something, conquer or achieve something is to reach your aim, to conquer something new, then you can do that only by uplifting your thoughts to a greater level. So today you may be thinking, okay, this is not possible for me. I'm born like this and I have to be like this. And if something else, whatever you want to achieve, if you think this is not my cup of tea, then that remains as it is. But if you raise your thoughts to that level, that why can't I do it? Why shouldn't I do it? And then if you train your thoughts to gradually uplift themselves to a higher level, and then you can do whatever you want to achieve. So this is the meaning of why the author has given this particular example. There can be no progress, no achievement without sacrifice. And a man's worldly success will be in the measure that he sacrifices his confused animal thoughts and fixes his mind on the development of his plans and the strengthening of his resolution and self-reliance. So therefore, there can't be any progress. So if you have to progress from one particular situation to a better situation, so that is called progress. You can't have this progress, or you can't achieve to reach the next level or to a higher level without sacrifice. So what is sacrifice here? Sacrificing of your conditioned thoughts, sacrificing of your way of thinking with previous way of thinking, giving up what you believed before, and then accepting that what you want to believe, what you want to become, and to learn new way of thinking, to give away with all the old and traditional way of thinking. So that is sacrifice. How much you sacrifice of your confused animal thoughts. So at that initial level, it's confused animal thoughts because you didn't have an aim. Your thoughts were scattered. You didn't had your thoughts focused on one single aim. And if you are not ready to give up those confused animal thoughts, which are immature, then you will never have a progressive thought. You will never have a higher thought to achieve something high. So without sacrifice, there can't be progress. So what to sacrifice? To sacrifice your old style, to sacrifice your old way of thinking, to sacrifice your old things that you have accepted, old accustomed things, and then to move away from them. So that is the sacrifice what the author here is talking about. So the man's worldly success will be in the measure that he sacrifices his confused animal thoughts. How much you sacrifice your old thoughts, that will be the measure of how much you're going to achieve. And fixes his mind on the development of his plans and strengthening of his resolution and self-reliance. So to give up, to sacrifice your old way of thinking, to fix your mind on something that you have planned for, and continuously training your thoughts, to strengthening your thoughts to your resolution and self-reliance. Self-reliance is very important. Not to depend on others' opinion to develop your thoughts. Not to depend on others' achievement, others' way of achievement, others' measure of achievement to achieve something what you want to do. So whatever you have developed, your thoughts and your energy towards your resolution should be self-reliance. that you depend on yourself to develop these thoughts and not to depend on others to achieve something or to progress towards achieving something. The universe does not favor the greedy, the dishonest, the vicious. Although on the mere surface it may sometimes appear to do so, it helps the honest, the magnanimous, the virtuous. So those who are greedy, those who want to accumulate more and more for themselves, those who are dishonest, those who can say anything, tell a lie, or do a bad activity in order to gain something. So the universe does not favor them. But to superficially, if you're seeing them now, you may feel that they're achieving more than you. Fine. You may feel a dishonest person, a greedy person is having something more than you, is achieving something more than you, whether it's in business, in your personal life, in your profession, career, or in your spiritual life, anything. You may feel initially that someone is achieving more than you. But if you know that that's because of greedy and dishonest and with vicious ideas, with vicious plans, you don't have to worry but that should not change you. Your thoughts should remain honest, should remain magnanimous, not pity mere small things, should focus on a huge purpose that you have and should remain virtuous. You should never give up your virtues. You should never compromise with your virtues, with your ideals, without compromising your virtues and ideals, without compromising your honesty, without compromising the huge central purpose of your life. If you focus your thoughts, no matter how others achieve more than you with greed and dishonest, that should not bother you. Because ultimately, the universe will not favor the other. The universe will not favor the dishonest, the vicious. In the down the lane, what remains is the honesty, the virtues and the values, and the magnanimous idea that you have to achieve something in your life. All achievements, whether in the business, intellectual, or spiritual world, are the result of definitely directed thought, are governed by the same law, and are of the same method. The only difference lies in the object of attainment. So as I keep on saying this throughout my talk, whether it's in your business, in your personal life, in your professional or career, which means intellectual here, or in your spiritual world, all results are definitely directed by your thoughts. All these things, all your achievements in these fields are come from your thoughts, are directed by your thoughts, and they're governed by your thoughts. In the same way, how things work in your business, how things work in your personal life, how things work in your professional life, how your thoughts work in these different lives is exactly how they also work in the spiritual life. So your thoughts, they are the reason, they direct you to achieve something, and and your thoughts govern the way you are going. So only then, so so once you know that it is the thought, it is your own thoughts that is directing you and that is governing you, and then whether it is your personal life or business or your career or the spiritual life, then you know the importance of your thoughts, and then you know how to develop your thoughts to achieve something in all these fields. He who would accomplish little must sacrifice little. He who would achieve much must sacrifice much. He who would attain highly must sacrifice greatly. So therefore, here is the author is trying to say the importance of sacrifice. What sacrifice? The sacrifice of your old style of thinking, the sacrifice of your accustomed or whatever fixed thoughts that you had, your old lifestyle, your old way of thinking, your old habits or anything. Once you try to sacrifice them and then make your thoughts, train your thoughts to think big, to think high, only then you can accomplish or achieve something. If you sacrifice little, you will achieve little. If you sacrifice much, you will achieve much. But if you sacrifice greatly, then you will attain something which is very high. So these words, I think I stop this discussion, and then we can open the session for questions or any other comments.
Thank you so much, Brother Pradeep. I literally felt that this book should be in curriculum of every student, because this is something we should practice right from while we are young and in our school. So thank you so much. So I would like to open the forum for any questions or further discussion. I can see Vimal ma'am on video. Ma'am, you are not audible.
Just wanted to thank Deep. It was a wonderful exposition and very nice pointers. And I think it's making me also think about what is it that I really want to achieve in life? What is my real goal in life? And what am I doing to achieve that? So these kinds of lectures really make you think carefully about these things. So thanks a lot, Pradeep.
Thank you so much, Vimalji. And I also saw your slides that you prepared. They're so wonderful with the great pictures.
Thank you.
You also mentioned about confused animal thoughts. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Can they be like sometimes we are like, okay, I'll do this thing tomorrow. I'm feeling lazy, or we usually push up things. So, can it be our confused animal thought?
See, what the author means by confused animal thought is, see, human is also an animal, right? So we have been evolved from animals. So if there is nothing called zero, so there is no starting point. But what is the starting point for human is that he continued with that animal behavior, with that animal thought, right? That's what the author means. Not animal in a bad way, but whatever is the starting point of human thought, the starting point of human life. So that is the animal thought, the animal way of behaving. So because see, a kid, if you see a small child, you feel, how can it be who taught it to see this way? Who
So
taught
your
the
voice
kid
is
to
not,
identify his mother?
Brother Pradeep, your voice is
Sorry.
not
So
clear.
is it not audible now? Is it audible now?
It is audible.
Your signal is weak, looks like, so it's like breaking up.
Kritika,
I think
you
it's
have
because
heard of Pasu Prabriti, right?
You can switch off your video if you want, so maybe the audio signal can go through. Pradeep?
Okay, much better now. I'll try. Is it okay now?
Say something.
Kritika, is this okay now?
No, it's break. Your voice is
Hello.
breaking. Yeah, it's good.
I'm so sorry because I'm in my native today and I'm not in Bangalore. So here the cell phone signals are very weak and I'm so sorry. So anyways, what I was trying to say is that the basic animal thought is not something bad. It's not a bad word. It's the basic way of thinking that so it's something that comes from birth. So that's all. And that is confused because that.
So now,
Kritika, just to make it easy for you, in some of the text, we have also not talked about Pasu Prabriti. So when we evolve, we come from that animal instincts to human instinct and superhuman instincts. So that is what it means. It's not about an animal as a structure and as an anatomy, a body as an animal. There are animal instincts in us also, right? Like grabbing, jealousy,
Right. So I was asking that if our goal is very clear, but confused thoughts, like if the goal is clear but confused thoughts, I thought that sometimes the thoughts which stop us from doing something or accomplishing something, so those thoughts, can they be counted
I
as?
understand your struggle, like, because we have already talked about it. Many youngsters face this. Goal is not a goal if it is not smart, if it is not defined, if it can, anything that can be measured, that can be achieved. That is the simplest rule of achievement. You will say, okay, I have grown up. Grown up to what? Have you measured? Oh, I used to tell 50% lies. Now I'm, telling 30% lies. That means you are growing. Measured. I have control on my anger. I used to have 80% control on my anger. Now I have grown to 95% of my anger. Measured, achieved. Anything that, that is the simplest rule for at least we human beings on earth. Shikharji, you can correct me. There is no measurement, you can track it. Don't say that I've achieved. Don't, this many, much, more doesn't mean. When you start working, no, people will ask you, show me the data, show me prove it. How will you prove it? There are certain, in all sorts of intangibility, there are certain things which can be tangible also, right? So let's make it a habit to see if tangibly you can do it. Otherwise, you're not able to show that you've achieved. And I would specially thank to today's session. Last Sunday, actually, we were preparing a list of things we would be doing as a workshop-based model for our children. I mean, in the morning kids section, when we do 9:30 to 10:15 kind of a session, wherein we were talking about list of things a child should do, and month on month we will pick up one aspect and we'll do. Probably goal is one thing Pradeep gave us today. We had missed out goal, if you remember, Ritika. In our list, there was no goal. That means we were talking about many intangible things, but we forgot it. Thanks for this session.
So, Brother Pradeep is back.
Thank you, Surya. Good to see you again. Yes, I'm back. So sorry for the technical glitch. Because of the signal problem, it was a heavy rain last night. So I think Suralina ji has explained to your question, so thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Yes, Shikhar, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to share something on thought and purpose. I think that is a very important thing, because you see, when we do not have a purpose, what happens to people when they get retired? So many people who get retired become, a patient of depression and loneliness and so many different things, because all their life they thought doing a job was their purpose. And now that purpose has been taken away from them. And suddenly they feel useless or they feel lonely. And so many people we see, I mean, after retirement, suddenly the person's health will deteriorate or something, so many things happen. And that is one of the main reasons that job, family, and okay, everything is okay, we are doing, but there has to be a higher purpose. And I think that is the difference between that confused animal thought and a human thought. Because what does animal do? Animal does eating, sleeping, and procreation. But we are different from an animal because we can have a purpose if we think along that lines. So yes, all those weaknesses are there from our lower nature, but I think what makes us different from an animal is our capacity to anticipate, to think, and to aim, and to plan, and all these things, although animals also can do to a certain extent, but very little. So I think that is a very, very important thing, because thought in itself is nothing. It is just like nuclear power. The same nuclear power can be used to generate electricity. The same nuclear power can be used to create a nuclear bomb. So if our mind is guided by our intuition, our buddhi, then we'll be having, all those love, compassion, serving everybody, and all those good things that the author has taught. If our mind is more influenced by our kama, or desire nature, of a selfish nature, then we will be involved more in anger, irritation, jealousy, and snatching things and all those things. So that's why when he says sacrifice, the more you sacrifice, the more is the gain. It applies in all the fields. So thought in itself is just a power. So which, and there is a story, there are two wolves in us. The wolf, whichever one we feed will become stronger. So if we feed our lower nature, our mind will gravitate towards that side. And still, it is a power, so people can use it for all the things they want. And if it is elevated towards higher nature, so it will help us in becoming more human, I think. So those 2 points just wanted to share.
Thank you so much, Brother Shikhar. I got the clarity. So is there anybody else who wants to ask anything or maybe suggest anything? I think now everybody is working on their thoughts. So nobody wants to ask anything. So Taral sir is on video.
Ji,
Taranji, if you can come up on your video so that I can see you for a long time.
hope I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
बहुत बढ़िया विषय है, बहुत ही वैसा विषय है जो हमारी रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में जिंदगी भर काम आ सकता है। और जिंदगी से कोई रिटायर तब तक नहीं होता जब तक ऊपर का बुलावा ना आ जाए। तो सोच सोच सोच, मन से सोच, दिल से सोच।
Taral ji, you got muted and आपकी आवाज is echoing.
Okay.
Maybe he was singing karaoke till now.
I am disconnecting the other one. Just a minute. Hello. Now it's fine.
Yes, now it's perfect.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes, yes.
तो सोच सोच सोच, मन से सोच, दिल से सोच। तो सोच सोच सोच, मन से सोच, दिल से सोच। जो सोच लिया समझो वो हो लिया। सोच सोच सोच, मन से सोच, दिल से सोच। जो सोच लिया समझो वो हो लिया। लक्ष्य सोच, पथ पर बढ़ चल। लक्ष्य सोच, पथ पर बढ़ चल। चलेगा तभी तो बढ़ेगा। चलेगा तभी तो बढ़ेगा। बढ़ेगा तभी तो पाएगा वो लक्ष्य जो सोच लिया, तो समझो वो हो लिया। बस ये चंद लाइनें आई थी तो मैंने सोचा कि मैं बोल दूं।
Thank you so much.
After a long time, Taral sir is back.
I am certainly back
Yes, yes.
with Shikhar ji's favorite tea.
Taranji, thank you so much.
और प्रदीप जी, आप जो कहते हैं वो एक कविता की तरह होता है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
और इतने अच्छे फ्लो में होता है कि सब चीजें अपने आप ही समझ में आ जाती हैं। थैंक यू सो मच।
He speaks so well. उनका एक रिदम है बोलने का actually. That's a good part. बहुत ही
वही तो बोला,
rhythmic
एक
है
रिदम
उनका
है।
बोलना। He is so rhythmic.
और
Thank
वो
you.
कई रिदम ऐसे होते हैं जो
कभी
सुला
शायरी
देते
लिखने
हैं।
सोचे?
ये रिदम ऐसा है जो चैतन्य देता है और चेतना देता है। थैंक यू।
कभी पोएट्री या शायरी लिखने को के लिए सोचा नहीं, लेकिन सोचेंगे अभी।
No, your speech is poetry, brother Pradeep. So don't need to write a poetry.
Yeah, you don't need to write a poetry. My poetry comes
And
because
you
of your.
really do one thing, Pradeep. Please keep coming
Yeah.
again and again.
No, I know the reason why Pradeep was absent, and it's a very good reason. I think we should all congratulate him.
Yeah.
Yes. My son is 6 months old now. And
Yeah. So I am proud of you that you earned yourself this 6-month leave from everything.
मैं कुछ कह सकती हूँ कृतिका?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
तो प्रदीप जी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद जो उन्होंने बात कही कि एक ब्लूप्रिंट बनाना चाहिए। जैसे हम कोई जब प्रोजेक्ट कोई बनाते हैं तो ब्लूप्रिंट बनाते हैं और उसके सारे नेगेटिव एस्पेक्ट नहीं देखते, पॉजिटिव एस्पेक्ट देते हैं और हम देखते हैं उसमें क्या क्या हमने अकम्प्लिश कर लिया है। तो ये बात मुझे बहुत पसंद आई जो हम लोग टीचिंग लाइन में ऐसा करते हैं। और दूसरी बात एक बुक है द गेम ऑफ लाइफ एंड हाउ टू प्ले इट।
वाह
तो उसमें लिखा है द सुपर कॉन्शियस माइंड इज अ गॉड माइंड विद इन ईच मैन एंड इज द रेल्म ऑफ परफेक्ट आइडियाज। तो जैसा कि अभी शिखर जी ने कहा कि जो हमारी इंट्यूशन है, जो हमारी बुद्धि है, वो फ्लैश होती है कि हमारा क्या गोल है होना चाहिए, हमारा क्या ऑब्जेक्ट होना चाहिए। तो जब वो फ्लैश होती है, वही हमारी डेस्टिनी है, वही हमारी डिवाइन डिजाइन है, और वही डेस्टिनी हमारा डेस्टिनेशन है। तो उस डेस्टिनेशन को पाने के लिए हम जो भी थॉट हो हमारे, वो प्रेजेंट परफेक्ट टेंस में हो। ये भी लिखा है एक फिलोसफर ने कि हम उसको फ्यूचर टेंस में ना बोलें, क्योंकि फ्यूचर तो कभी नहीं आता। तो आई रेस्ट एंड रिलैक्स इन द लव ऑफ गॉड एज गॉड लव्स मी एंड ही हील्स माय माइंड एंड बॉडी, आई एम थैंकफुल। तो यदि हम टीचर बनना चाहते हैं तो हम कहें कि हम टीचर बन गए। ये भी उनका था कि या तो पास्ट परफेक्ट टेंस में हो, ये नहीं कि मैं बनूंगी, मैं बनना चाहती हूँ, मैं होंगी। तो मैं टीचर बनना चाहती थी, मैं अपना एक्सपीरियंस बताती हूँ। तो मैं ये लिखती थी कि मैं एक टीचर हो गई हूँ, मैं एक टीचर हो गई हूँ और मेरी ये विश पूरी हो गई है। ये बड़ा इम्प्रैक्टिकल लगता है सोचने में, लेकिन ये मेरा 40 साल पहले का ये मेरा ये थॉट था जो मैनिफेस्ट हुआ, जो मैं टीचर हूँ। तो कोई भी चीजें फ्यूचर टेंस में नहीं बोलनी, या तो प्रेजेंट टेंस में या पास्ट परफेक्ट टेंस में। तो वही हमारा डेस्टिनी है, वही हमारा डेस्टिनेशन है, और उसके लिए वन बाय वन हमको जो है अपने ब्लूप्रिंट पर एक एक चीजें अकम्प्लिश करनी चाहिए। बस यही मन में आया। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद प्रदीप जी और सभी वक्ताओं को जिन्होंने शेयर किया।
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sushma.
I see Brother Shikhar raising hand.
वाओ
Just a final quick comment. What Sushma Aunty has just said. Any patient has given this exercise that whatever you are aiming for, you start. Okay, Aunty says that she writes and also. You start imagining yourself to be in, like suppose Kritika, you have to go for an interview, right, for civil services. So like in your meditation time or separate time, you sit and you start imagining that is happening, and they are asking you questions and whatever you are answering. So when you are in that situation, that will help you a lot, and basically that thought will start materializing it, of course. So similarly, if you're going to give a lecture somewhere, so start imagining the audience, and to remove your like fear of public speaking, or to make a conducive environment among the audience and all those things. So this kind of thoughts, if somebody imagine beforehand, it helps a lot in actual while the thing is going on. So just a quick comment on that. And thank you, Brother Pradeep, once again for a wonderful session.
विजुलाइजेशन की बात करती थी, तो खाली हॉल में जो है लेक्चर देती थी कि वो इमेजिन करती थी कि खाली हॉल है, सीट पड़ी है, और वहां जाके लेक्चर देती थी। तो ये पावर ऑफ विजुलाइजेशन है। इट हैज डन, ऑलरेडी डन। थैंक यू सो मच, आपने याद दिलाया जी।
Thank you.
It's like these days we hear about affirmations and visualization. So
Yeah. Yes. That
people get up in the morning and say, I am brave, I am powerful. So they say such words.
yeah. Say, okay.
Like we did one vision board in summer camp. So every child was creating a vision board as if it has occurred to him. He will draw, he will keep post something on that vision board. I mean, it's already done. So that's how you're giving a push to your vision.
Yes, and the very important thing in that is repetition. The more you repeat it, the more powerful it will become, and instead of obstructing you, it will help you.
So the discussion is becoming
yeah.
so interesting. I don't want to end this, but yeah, it's time. So thank you so much, Brother Pradeep, for giving such a wonderful talk and making the discussion so interesting. So let us proceed and sit in meditation. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ Thank you so much, Brother Pradeep, for
Thanks, Kritika. I
the
think you
morning.
can stop.
So wonderful. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining. So let us meet next week, same place and same time. Please
Yes.
be safe till then and enjoy. Bye-bye.
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 Bye-bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Have a
Thank
great
you.
Sunday.
Thank you, Kritika. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you, Pradeep.
Pradeep. Thank you, Pradeep. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.
See you.